It's so funny that some people don't get this. Someone the mayor employs intimidated someone who filed an ethics complaint against him as the mayor. They don't see that because they're the hive mind and they think they're right and that I'm wrong, and they dehumanize me and justify going at me. You don't have a right to go after anyone who filed a complaint against the mayor. I mean, Joe PQ citizen probably can, but someone that's paid by the mayor, someone that was mentored by the mayor and has all kinds of business stuff with him, he's your boss, and you go and do a letter to the editor intimidating, basically inciting violence against someone who wrote an ethics complaint against the mayor? Where's your noggin? Yes, it's Intimidation 101, okay? Send in your thugs like the mafia, right? No, I got an opinion and she's bad. Well, if Trent Diamanti had an opinion, he could have gave some legal case. He could have, mentioned a few points, or at least one point that was in the complaint, and refuted it to the public at large. Instead of just, Neener, she's bad, and like 13 years ago she did something that was like dismissed and weird, and some weird guy wrote an article, and then she won her appeal and stuff, but I don't look into any of that because, I'm a law clerk and we don't do that. We don't know nothing about the law. Well, it's basic witness intimidation, the same thing that Libby did. I filed a criminal complaint against Libby Winstrom because she went, after I filed an ethics complaint against her, all of Sally's Rescue went to a hearing where I was a victim's advocate, which is my church, my religious organization, what I do, in my nonprofit that I've had, for over a decade. And I go to support a domestic violence victim, and all of Sally's Rescue comes and intimidates me. And then I try to tell city council, and the next day, all of Sally's Rescue gets a protective order against me. So now next up, David Faber's ethics complaint, and he sends in his paid thugs. Okay, that's what city council does, apparently. So what? Do I file a criminal complaint against David Faber for intimidation? Well, the prosecutor don't care. The police don't care. They only care about going after Crystal Cox, right? But it's the law. You look up witness intimidation. You look up, you don't have a right to intimidate or get the public to go after someone that filed an ethics complaint against the mayor who happens to be your boss. I mean, there's just no brain in there at all. And, Trent Diamante would have even more criminal charges in the real world because he has unclean hands, that's a legal term. He's qualified. He's a law clerk. He knew that, first of all, it would have been prudent to say anything in case law, but what I've alleged against Mayor David Faber hurts the public at large, and it's very important issues. And I didn't name call him. I saved that for my own Facebook page. I didn't do it in the public forum in the newspaper. Well, anywho, for, criminal charges, Trent would certainly have liability because, for intimidation, witness intimidation, all that. But when you look at the ethics violation of it and just how bad it was, he's someone who's supposed to have knowledge of the law. He works for the mayor as a law clerk, paralegal, whatever. Okay, so he's in that profession. And he's on like the Jefferson Clement board. He advocates for housing stuff. He's out there in this, right? So they all know him. So for him to say, don't give any credence to this. Don't give any credibility. Don't fall into the trap. The trap of what? Believing her. As a legal expert, as someone who's, in the affordable housing industry around here, and as a paid employee of the mayor, it's certainly some sort of conflict of interest, but it's also intimidation of someone who filed an official, legal, properly filed ethics complaint against the mayor. I didn't threaten him. I didn't say anything caustic. I put out facts that they could go and verify and they could disprove easily if they're not true. But instead, they chose to intimidate me and call me TERF and just come at me and delusional and right-wing and incite hate and violence against me. That's intimidation law violation 101. If you were somewhere where anybody cared about the law, not just who you know and who you.